I'm gonna say test, test, test right now. Test, 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 testing.
Maybe that will test for us. This. I like the.
That was me. Oh, let me shoot.
That's what's on it.
Hey, Mike. All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
All right. I'll be preaching here, guys.
Don't do that. Do that.
And I call to order the regular meeting of Chatham County Area Transit Board of Directors for November 18th, 2025. Chairman Leggett is traveling on city business, therefore he will be participating virtually. And as vice chair in his absence, I'll be presiding over today. I believe it's conducted.
Yes, is the vice chair, Director Bright,
Here.
Director Bradley. Not present for roll call, Director Lassiter.
Present.
Director Snowden. Not present for roll call, Director DeMassimo. Present. Director Owens.
Present.
Chairman Leggett
Yes, present.
and Vice Chair Moore.
Present.
Thank you, Vice Chair Moore, you have a form for today's meeting.
Thank you very much. Let the record reflect that form is indeed present. On the item number 2. Next, we will entertain a motion to adopt the order for the regular board meeting agenda for November 18th, 2025. There's a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second.
The motion has been moved and second. Are there any discussions? Hearing none, or we can vote.
Yes, Director Bright,
Yes.
Director Bradley. Not present for the vote, Director Lassiter.
Yes.
Director Snowden, not present for the vote, Director DeMassimo.
Yes.
Director Owens,
Yes.
Chairman Leggett,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Moore.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Yeah.
On the agenda, we have a couple of presentations today. First, we'll have a presentation for medical and benefits overview. I invited Jessica Pettigo. Hope I got that right.
You did.
Let's see Christopher and Richard to the floor. Presentation.
Thank you so much. I also have Jeff Blazevich with me today.
I'll be the top of one. Safely.
We are with Stone Seacrest Pritchard, as he said. We are your benefits broker, so we help manage the full benefits package for Chatham Area Transit employees each year. And keep in mind that what we're going through is the plan year, as we refer to it. Y'all refer to it as the fiscal year for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. So we are looking year end at this point, even though that's still.
All right, look at this. Thank you all for having us. We're gonna roll through a lot of the medical information. It's been a privilege to serve Kat and work alongside leadership. I'm a football guy, so you're gonna see my laser pointer here on the left, just to work through a couple of these groups. But the main theme of this is to really express and put numbers to the investment that Kat is making for their employees and how it impacts not only them, but their dependents as well. So a couple things to note here, you obviously can read these slides, but participation did increase 6% over the last plan year, fiscal year 7-1 to 7-1. Current participation stands at 162 employees and 264 members. So members are dependents on the plan. Another silly way to think about this, but it helps, is employees are doorknobs. What is opening the door to the household, and members are belly buttons, the actual people inside. So we track this ratio, and the norm is 1.9%. Chatham Area Transit has 1.6%. It's not good or bad. It simply shows, if anything, that the investment is more serving the employees directly, but they do have the freedom to add their tenants. Looking back 2 years, participation has increased 18%, which again is, we want to see this. We want to make sure that we're offering benefits that apply to all employees, their dependents, and this is, truly a value perceived by the employees. Claims did increase 35% for the period. This is relative increase of 27% per employee per month, which is how we track it on the baseline. So we had a large number, 18% increase over the last 2 years. That is going to follow with claims. And worth noting here that there's roughly 230 eligible employees for doorknobs today. This slide shows tracking year to year, the 23 to 24 plan year versus the 24 to 25. We break it down. We want to know how many of these claims are medical versus prescription. The biggest change here, you can see prescription claims increased 55%. A number of that is the high cost claims in terms of the members, new prescriptions as we prescribe, but also in general, just the state of American healthcare. The most volatile expense year after year with all of our clients is pharmaceuticals, the prescriptions. Yes.
Question on the, both of those percentage changes look to be, pretty substantive. And I was curious, how do we compare with other similar organizations in terms of that percentage increase? Are we higher than most, or are we about mid-range of most, or?
Yeah, I would say given the growth and given the people that you add, it's really hard to get a normative benchmark. We do have that in a few slides. I will say prescription increases about 55%. This is the biggest thing that jumps off the page, but anecdotally, this is normal. Again, thankfully, there are life-saving medications. These are coming out year to year, but how our system is set up, somebody has a good drug that people need, they are going to squeeze every last dollar out of it, and it costs a lot of money. So until there's a generic available. So RX trend, this is more of the norm. This also doesn't account for the actual increase in bodies, and so the members on the plan. So all things considered, this isn't alarming, even though the numbers do reflect, if you're looking at this without context, you're like, what's going on? But I would say this is normal trend compared to the rest of our clients. Just anything to add. So when we break it down on a per employee per month basis, this 27% is more accurately reflecting, I would say, more of the claims. At the bottom, this is the main point of the slide. Almost everything in healthcare and how we do our underwriting and how we evaluate all of your claims are based on high cost claims. So 9 employees are accounting for 42% of all the claims. Most of the time, it's not most of the people that are driving the claims. There's a couple people that are going through some really intensive, very high cost diagnosis, prescriptions, whatever it may be. Out of this, 3 are no longer on the plan, so we're left with 6, and it is a lot more optimistic moving forward. But the bad news is there are 9 folks that make up 42% of the claim. The good news is you have a per cap of each employee of $125,000, which is how UHC does their back end underwriting. Lastly, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the loss ratio, this is comparing what we paid in premium versus claims funding that. Of course, UHC, as well as every carrier, has their profits and their administration fee baked in here. So 80% is more around where we want to be. 96% is very high. Relatively speaking to a flat renewal, I should say. 96% is normal. But the thing that we'll talk about in just another slide is that this loss ratio increased the closer we got to renewal. So when you lock in your benefits renewal earlier last year, we decided to stay with UHC with competitive marketing. You actually got a better deal than it would have been if you would have waited to lock in. This is the same thing on the PEPM basis, just showing the average monthly claims, that 27% here. The normal trend, this is changing drastically for 2026, but looking backwards, the normal trend is roughly 8% of medical claims. So if everything remains flat, go to the doctor 1 year after the next, it's going to cost 8% more. And pharmaceutical trend is around 11.5%. And so this is more of the, if there are no changes in your population, you're not growing, you're not shrinking, we're still expecting a blended increase. Roughly 8 to 12% is what we say on the fully insured side. And then here are the hard dollar increases of the claims, but this is not at all the premium. This is just what we track to negotiate the premium. There we go. Year over year, this is showing the loss ratio. So we ended up at 96%. 75% is where we want to be. 80% last year, obviously we had a much more favorable renewal. This year, there's a lot of work to do in the competitive market simply because claims ran hot. Now, claims are very cyclical. We understand that, you know, we ride out the bad years, we expect better years ahead, and we are anticipating that to be the case for CAT. A lot of these large cost claims are coming off the plan, are not continuing the way that we thought. So hopefully this will end in a period of stability moving forward. Here is the benchmark review. So obviously CAT's claims are up top. We go back to 2020. This is a per employee per year cost. So if we take the claims for both medical and prescription, we annualize it on a per employee per year basis. We compared against the largest benchmark that we have access to, which is the Kaiser benchmark. We compare members in the Southeast region because that's obviously most pertinent to CAT's population. And we can see that in general, there's a change of about 6.1%. And then the Kaiser norm is around 9%, but we are tracking above that 6% above the norm. So slightly above benchmark. I think that makes sense given, you know, the industry and some of the claims that we've seen come through, not at all alarmingly above the benchmark. And we've remained steady there when you look back over the last 5 years. All right, this is more of a fun slide. If you weren't having fun already. This is the cost sharing summary. This shows, and I'm just going to skip down to the bottom. This shows the percentage of all-in claims paid by employees versus Chatham Area Transit. So CAT funds and HRA, they're obviously paying the portion of the co-insurance, anything after the out-of-pocket maximum. Of course, the medical premiums are factored in here. So as you look at all of the claims that are coming in, CAT has been able to honor the 70-30 split. That is, you know, the goal in terms of premium, but when we bake in all costs, it is 70-30%. This is very generous. You know, as we just have our anecdotal benchmark across all of our clients, I would say it is truly a mixed bag, but the commitment to take care of your employees is showing not only in the premium, what we know, but after the year shakes out, we're able to go back and track where were the dollars spent. Employees are paying roughly 30% of all of the healthcare budget combined annually. And so the 70% is definitely something to celebrate. And yeah, we're very excited about this.
I just want to touch on the HRA to make sure, because I know the medical plan is new to a bunch of people in the room. CAT funds a HRA or a health reimbursement arrangement, which pays on the back end of every employee and dependent's deductible. So for example, there's 3 medical plans that are deductibles are for individuals, $2,000, $2,500, and $3,500 for individual. CAT pays the last 1,000 of that. So in essence, the deductibles as an individual are $1,000, $1,500, and $2,500, which are very low deductibles, especially considering the $3,500 total deductible is on a qualified high deductible plan. And so that comes with the health savings account as well, which I won't get into because I'm bored on. I'll say that for renewal season. But I just want to be aware that CAT is funding $1,000 for every employee. And if you have dependents on the plan, $1,000 per dependent up to 3. So that's a huge benefit, and it really decreases those deductibles to very reasonable deductibles. So again, just one way that CAT's being very generous to their employees, not only working, as Jed mentioned, to bring the premiums down, but also to make sure those deductibles are as affordable as possible through the medical plan. And so you can see in the second grid in the middle, employer HRA contributions. So in 24-25, CAT paid out $45,516 that employees were able to save in their pockets because of CATs and how they have the medical plan arranged.
There we go. We've been tracking the loss ratio history. This is just how we show our stewardship over what were the claims, what was the loss ratio premium versus claims, what was the initial released renewal, and then where were we able to negotiate it down towards. I'm not going to read all this to you. The only thing that I wanted to point out is with a loss ratio of 95.1. There are a few benchmarks up here. You can see this is 95, this is closer to 100. But releasing an 18.2% showed UHC's one, commitment to retain the business, but two, they're looking forward. So they're saying, yes, it was a really high loss ratio this year, but moving forward, they see the claims and they know better than anybody. We only have limited data that they give us. They are optimistic about the performance of the plan in the future. And you can even see that in the inverse in 2024, some of the new diagnosis, 72%, that's a great loss ratio at time of marketing. But they released a 15%, we negotiated to 5%. They saw some of these claims coming in the future. They released very limited data to us. So some of this is us piecing the pieces together. On the back end, they won't share all the diagnosis and things that we would prefer to have, but looking backwards, it makes sense. They anticipated a higher than normal year for 2025. 2026, they should be expecting back to a normal performance out of claims.
I have a question for you. This
Yeah.
was really from Ms. Cutter. Ms. Cutter, what are some of the things that we're still doing? I know you've always had a really great approach here to wellness programming and things that help manage that claim.
Yes.
History and such. I was just curious if some of it, here it is. Next slide.
I owe you for that one.
Excellent segue. Thank you for that. Yes, I'd like to speak to some of the kind of what we talk about as the softer side of the medical plan. And a lot of what I'm going to speak to speaks again back to Ms. Cutter and CAT's overall focus on employees, their wellness and their finances. So offered through United Healthcare are a number of programs. I won't bore you with all of them, but for example, the Real Appeal, the first one listed is a weight management program. All of these listed are at no cost to employees. So employees can enroll in these programs. The Real Appeal, they send you a scale, they send you a portion plate of recipes, a food scale, and there's online coaching that goes along with that. Again, at no cost to the employees, so that if they want to participate, they can. The wellness health coaching is for health coaching in all other areas. There's maternity support, where for any employee or spouse that's pregnant, they can have this support that's ongoing during the pregnancy to make sure that they are having a healthy pregnancy. Tobacco cessation, of course, speaks for itself. Self-care from Able To is another app that has mindfulness and meditation and that sort of thing, speaking and addressing more of the mental health care. And then UHC Rewards is a wonderful program that we've seen a lot of traction with in the last 2 years that we've been with UHC. And you can see 166 employees or spouses, the spouses are also eligible for the program, earned $12,616 back from United Healthcare. So back into their pockets by doing things like walking 5,000 steps a day or tracking your sleep for 7 nights, even just updating your address or enrolling in paperless billing, that sort of thing. So there's a number of different ways. There's online courses, surveys, that sort of thing. If you get your annual physical or biometric screening. So it's really, the program is focused on the employee's health. And by way of that, employees are able to earn up to $300 back. And you'll see that the 6 employees earned the full $300 back, which is not easy to do because it does take some steps. But it just goes to show, Cat was really focused on this and pushing this out because it not only gets money in employees' pockets, but it drives the healthcare and gets people to pay attention to their wellness. Then other offerings outside of United Healthcare that CAT focuses on, they've done lunch and learns here with various local partners, Fresh Fruit Fridays. They've had St. Joe Candler come out and do the mobile mammography, so the mammogram screenings on site here. In the past, we've had United Healthcare do biometric screenings that were funded by CAT in the medical plan. We've had a couple wellness fairs, and of course, there's the on-site fitness center. So a lot of great programming that's outside of the medical plan, but UHC provides CAT a $25,000 wellness fund every year. And those can be, that $25,000 has to be used on wellness expenses. So you can't offset premiums with it, but you can provide all of these wonderful things and more. I think last year we got some fitness equipment, and Fresh Fruit Fridays was funded by that. So a lot of good things can come with that $25,000. And then lastly, and this is a wonderful benefit, it was put in a few years ago. It's Adele Community Assistance Program. It is run by the local Hospice Savannah. So it's in person, it's local people, as we know, a lot of us local enjoy talking to someone in person as opposed to on the phone. You can call them and be on the phone with them, but it's also someone you can go and see in person. You can see the list, and this is not the entire list of all the programs that the counselors can assist employees. It is employees, spouses, or anyone in their household that can reach out to Adele. And since its inception, you can see in the blurb, there's 25 or over 25 initial assessments that have been done and over 55 ongoing appointments. So these are employees and spouses of CAT that have reached out for help in whatever facet of their life. And they are getting that at no cost to the employee. CAT pays a small monthly fee for this. And it is available, and you're saying it's given to you. So CAT is very focused on the health and well-being of their employees. And with this great program, it helps to retain employees over time as well. And that's what we got for you. We're trying to keep high level so y'all can all stay awake today. But if there's any questions on the medical or wellness or anything outside of that as far as benefits, we're happy to address that.
Ms. Cutter, one other question on the benefits. I know it's kind of outside of all this, but I know at one point we were offering, I think twice a year, wills, just basic wills and powers of attorney through, is that still being done as well?
Not so much of a focus on that this fiscal year yet, but or usage, I would say in the past there had been usage, but that is something that we continue to offer to customers.
Okay.
And I'll say for my law firm, we're happy to do it almost anytime, any place. It's easy for us to do and we're happy to do it.
That was something that was needed, and it was really welcome by the employees to be able to get those just necessary business documents in place to be able to help with part of overall life management concept. So anyway. Good to hear.
We have a programmatic element in place to make sure that our team members are routinely reminded of this. I don't want to feel as since it's talked about at the first of the year, and then you should go along and forget these services are available.
The partnership with Seacrest Sterling is really excellent. Periodically, they come in, our employees reach out to them when needed. Now that our HR department is fully staffed, we will be very assertive in keeping this in front of employees. Because our goal is to reduce the cost of insurance, but take care of our employees.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Our next presentation is the electric burial review Q&A session. A written report was provided by the ICGO, by SEO Cutter and Walsh. Director Shaw to the floor for Q&A.
Okay, we will be connecting Eric Director and Mike Off via Zoom. The board was distributed the report. This is an opportunity for the board to ask any questions as it relates to the construction of the third ferry and any other concern as it relates to some other factors that has recently arose related to the construction of the third ferry vessel.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me, but my name's Eric Director, like Ms. Cutter said. So I'm here to speak to the operations and reliability of your first two vessels, give you any updates and answer any questions about the progress on the third vessel, and then also address the critical battery vendor closure, which was included in Ms. Cutter's update. So good to see you all. I know I've met some of you. Good to meet you if I haven't met you, and thanks for accommodating my calling in remotely today.
Any questions?
Well, I guess, first off, thoughts on the battery manufacturer and where that leaves us.
Yeah, so a quick update or background. A couple weeks ago, our point of contact at Freudenberg Exalt. Freudenberg is their parent company. They're based in Germany. A few years ago, they purchased Exalt LLC, which is a battery manufacturer in Midland, Michigan, and begun production of their batteries for a variety of heavy power markets, buses, mining equipment, off-road transportation, which includes the maritime sector, and your ferries, and a few other ferries in the US and one or two outside of the US. So their point of contact sent us a letter indicating that based on larger market factors, political winds, changes in tax code with the passing of new legislation, that the investment they've made had no path to long-term viability. And so because of that, they're planning on shutting down operations by the end of the year. We notified Ms. Cutter and Mr. Cologne and Mr. Allen and have continued to work in parallel with them and Exalt to figure out what the impacts are to us and our ability to support you and your ferries, both in long-term operations, but and also the short-term commissioning and delivery of your third boat. And so more specifically, we've been trying to figure out what is the nature of their shutdown, how they intend to support their contractual obligations with us on the third boat, because we've contracted with them directly, and also BAE on the first and second boats. And we've gotten new information sort of trickling as they're trying to figure out how to handle each of their customers. We've been very, maybe aggressive is the wrong word, but proactive to try and come up with a set of solutions that works for you. Specifically, that is purchasing additional modules. We will be purchasing 2 of them at our own cost, no cost to CAT, to make sure that we are confident in our ability to support the commissioning of the third vessel. Additionally, we're pressuring Exalt to offer CAT the purchase of additional modules for hands-on spares in the event that if any of the modules in the 3 ferries during operation, have a fault or have some sort of failure, can be replaced when the company is no longer in operation. In addition to modules, there are a couple other pieces of equipment that can support that sort of ongoing maintenance. I won't get into the technical details of those, but I will share that with Ms. Cutter and Mr. Cologne. so we're waiting on that formal offer from them as to what the cost is. They've indicated, let me just pull up the email that they sent me yesterday. They've indicated that since they're not able to support the commissioning, that $9,500 of commissioning costs that we've already paid will be credited towards any purchases you choose to make. And then they're also offering a discount on the products of up to 25%. So I don't know exactly how that all shakes out. We need that formal offer from them, but as soon as I have that, I will share that with your team, and we can make a formal recommendation on what we think you should purchase to help support the ongoing maintenance of the vessels. The batteries will not be manufactured after next year. However, for ongoing support, they're working with one of their bus suppliers, a third-party vendor, who to set up knowledge transfer, purchase of relevant IP, access to tools. So we're also working to help facilitate a long-term agreement so that you have a subject matter expert to go to in case you need troubleshooting support on the 3 ferries. I know that was a lot. I'll leave it there, and I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can about the battery topic.
Eric, what's the useful lifespan of the battery, an individual battery as we have installed on the first 2 ferries that you've constructed?
So battery lifetime really depends on how you use them, what state of charge you maintain them at, what you regularly discharge them to, the cycle life. I can share, and we have shared in the past, and I can share again what the battery manufacturer, how they the design basis for that. But to answer your question, in this setting, it's about 5 to 10 years. Depending on those factors. I think 6 or 7 years is how we planned your battery packs.
Eric, what's the lifespan of the module and what's the cost of each?
The lifespan of each module is similar to the pack itself. They're all engineered for that same useful life. Again, I do want to double check the design basis, and I can provide that to Mr. Colon. The cost of each battery, they did not list in the offer. I'm looking through the attachments again here to see. No, they gave us prices for some of the harnessing and sort of tooling that helps with the removal and reinstallation of the batteries, but I'm still waiting on the formal offer for the extra modules themselves. I can look up what we paid for an average cost of each module based on the pack, but I don't have that information on hand right now.
I'm sorry, one more question. Is the battery company going completely out of business, or are they stopping the manufacture of this type of product?
They're stopping the manufacture of this product and also shutting down this subsidiary. This is an LLC located that they purchased, that parent company, Frudenberg, purchased, located in Midland, Michigan.
Thank you.
They're not, this is one point that I press them on, are they filing for bankruptcy, Chapter 7, Chapter 11, and they've indicated they're not filing for bankruptcy. They're just an organized wind down of the business based on the non-viability of their business plan assumptions when they made that investment.
So the sort of details of a moving forward plan, not just what options are there for other vendors with similar products? Are there retrofit options? Have you all sort of thought through all of that? Maybe you covered that and I just didn't hear it clearly. But what are the retrofit options so that these vessels, which have a much longer lifespan than the battery itself, that value is retained and can continue to operate and so forth? What are all of the moving forward options that you all have explored for these products?
Yeah, so a couple of background comments before I address your specific question. The 5 to 7 year battery lifespan is typical of batteries of this size and cycle frequency. And that's always been part of how hybrid electric vessels need to operate and be repowered. So as you're alluding to, a replacement of those batteries was always going to need to happen. And then for these batteries specifically, in terms of the failure rate, that's a specific piece of information I'm waiting for from them. Qualitative experience on our end on the first 2 ferries, there was one bad module that needed to be replaced during commissioning of many dozens of those modules. So our recommendation will be to purchase probably 6 of those modules, which should cover you for that fairly low failure rate over the life of this pack until you get to the point where you need to replace the entire energy storage system. In terms of a mitigating path forward in case of a larger scale failure of the current ESS systems during their useful life, it is technically possible, but the execution of that new integration of a new manufacturer, the space and form factor might be different, the racking system might be different. So there will be electrical wiring impacts, there could be mechanical piping system impacts in that ESS space. And then there's the software and firmware layer that needs to be integrated. The BMS, the battery management system, needs to be integrated with BAE's power conversion system. And unfortunately, this project has experienced the double whammy of BAE exiting the maritime market as well as Exalt. And so I need to get an answer from BAE as to whether they will support a ESS system replacement, whether it's according to the normal lifespan of the batteries or a nearer term emergent replacement. I don't have that answer for you today. It is technically possible and would be part of the normal vessel lifespan. If BAE is not willing to support that, then you'd be looking at a larger propulsion system repower, which again, there are options for that as well. We evaluated it with the team when BAE exited the market. The biggest obstacle there is the re-engineering cost. That is not, it has to be done again with a different vendor. They have different set points and each of their modules controls the power differently. Long story short, yes, it's possible. Each of those pathways and when it happens and what part of the boat it impacts will dictate the cost and timeline to get that done, which I know is kind of a frustrating answer to hear, but that's my answer.
Mr. Director, sort of a little bit more of a follow-on to that. So how does that for the 3rd ferry? What changes or redesign or rethinking of the 3rd ferry in a timely fashion prior to its completion and delivery does this suggest?
So our preferred path forward is that there are no changes, no additional costs, except for our recommended purchase of spares. which we would recommend anyway, even if the manufacturer were not going out of business. The vendor has indicated through that third party, they can support commissioning. And we're also fairly confident that in collaboration with our BAE engineer, we can also commission these battery packs ourselves, especially if we have that tool from the vendor. BAE has indicated they will support this third boat, considering we were contracted with them sort of before they formally exited the market. So we don't foresee any additional issues there. It can be frustrating to work with a company that doesn't want to serve the market you're in, but they are helping us. So no changes to this ferry at this time. The purchase of those additional modules will really mitigate any of the failures we saw on the first two boats. So I'm fairly confident that we will be able to deliver the third ferry to Savannah as designed to the specification.
Eric, is there a shelf life on the batteries, and do they have to be stored under certain conditions?
Surplus batteries in the event that we did purchase on-hand batteries.
Yeah, that was another question I have out to Exalt as well with their offer. They informally gave me the answer that they need to be in a reasonably climate controlled environment, like any sort of storage building. Temperature control is the most important, having it between 60 and 75 degrees to make sure there's no adverse cooling or heating of the battery chemistry. But beyond that, it doesn't need to be, in a highly protected environment. There is a shelf life, though. I think I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, and I don't want to speak out of turn because he hasn't given me his formal answer. But I do want to try and give you some idea. I think it was similar to the, if it's not being cycled, batteries like to be used and cycled. If it's on the order of 6 to 12 months, it's going to be fine. If the battery's sitting unused for 3 to 5 years, then you are going to see some degradation in its capacity. It won't inherently fail, but the capacity will degrade over time.
What temperature do you keep your office?
Below 60.
All right, you've articulated your preferred path on the third ferry. Have you guys contemplated an alternative that the port might want to consider?
So I think the alternative, if we weren't able to get the ESS commissioned either through their vetted third party or through our own in-house expertise and BAE's in-house expertise, the first escalation would be with Exalt, whoever's left at that point, and Freudenberg, the parent company, because I feel strongly that using the equipment you've purchased and that we have on hand without any re-engineering or design is the best path forward. So we would continue to try and work towards delivery to the design and specification. I'm not sure, off the cuff, I'm not sure what situation would get us into this, but assuming there's a critical failure that cannot be fixed or replaced, then we would have to pivot to a new battery manufacturer. There are a couple out there. I've reached out to 2 of them to get the ball rolling on this. I think in terms of a risk, it's a high severity risk, but at this point I assess it as a low likelihood risk. But I want to make sure that those relationships and conversations are started so that when we get to commissioning next summer, we're not starting from scratch on that backup plan. Does that answer your question?
Questions? Any other discussion? Okay,
Mr. Vice Chair, I just wanted to say, as we gather additional information as it relates to the construction of the third ferry, the board will be giving the updates immediately.
great, thanks very much. Okay. There's no other discussion, we're gonna move on to agenda item for 4. Consent items. We'll now consider consent agenda items. The consent agenda includes 3 items. First is request to approve minutes for the regular meeting held October 28th, 2025. Second is a request to approve the issuance of a request for proposals for uniforms. And third is request for approval for the second half of the FY26 Zero Fair calendar. Entertain a motion to approve.
I would like to pull out 2 for discussion.
Okay,
Second.
So I make a motion to adopt consent items 1 and 3.
Second.
open the floor vote.
Yes, sir. The chairman, Director Bright,
Yes.
Director Brightly,
Yes.
Director Lassiter,
Yes.
Director Snowden, not present for the vote, Director DeMassimo,
Yes.
Director Owen,
Yes.
Chairman Leggett,
Yes.
and Vice
Yes.
Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Vice Chair Moore.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay,
Yes.
the motion carries for items 1 and 3. Going to agenda item 5 for individual items. Have discussion on request to approve the issuance of request for proposals for employee uniforms. Director Owens.
Yes, sir. So I have no issues. I don't want to rock the boat here, but with a little bit of discussion. I love people looking nice and presentable and going to things nicely. Like I would never wear what Director Brandt is wearing to my work meeting. That would just be
Not me though.
some ties I like. I also know that we live in a really warm climate and you know this stuff better than me, so I just have a couple of questions, especially on our fixed route operators. I love the idea of a tie. Every summer, do we do a little bit of a dress down that they can wear a polo or not wear a necktie? Very good. On the notion, it's just some comfort during those warm months, I think is welcomed by all. On the Marine crew, I want to emphasize the importance of safety and brightly colored jackets and outerwear in particular. We when the time changes as it has, it is very dark on that river, and if a deckhand or something, if someone missed a footing, somehow fell into the river, we would want that person highly visible in low light conditions, including reflectors on outerwear. Outerwear should be mandatory in the evening, for that. There should be a protocol for evening wear. The shoes we need to make sure that they're non-slip. It's not any set of tennis shoes. They need to be a very specific sole to not mar the deck, but also low slippage. And remember that visibility in the event of some sort of engine failure or even a loud sound coming from an engine compartment, our passengers are going to be looking for the person in charge. And so even headgear needs to be bright into the evening. And that was my really only comment of just thinking about the safety in particular.
And so will this RFP, will it be specific into what
Yes.
they're gonna send us what they would
They'll send.
price for the, okay.
See once we specify
Mhm.
all gear.
Okay,
To be a part of the contractual agreement, yes, we'll go through that process. We'll have the staff engaged in that process
Yeah.
as well.
yeah, I mean, comfort and safety critical importance, so, you know, I think as y'all think through those, I'd certainly support those as well.
That was it, Mr. Blanchard. Any other comments, questions on this item? I don't know if it requires any change of the proposed action. Based on
Well,
comments.
My thought, though, is that since the board package included a scope of work, specific attachment that didn't, I don't think, include the things that Director Owens mentioned. One way the board can proceed is to take a vote on a motion to accept it as to be amended to incorporate the high visibility clothing. Marina, and I would do it that way, and that way it could get changed, and if somebody looks at it later, there won't be any questions that we vary from scope or.
Be happy to make a motion to be effective. Yes. And issuing an approval of issuing an RFP business back in the comment.
We have a motion, be a second.
Second.
Beverly, if you can get a roll call vote on that.
Third. Thank you. Director Wright,
Yes.
Director Bradley.
Yes.
Director Lasser,
Yes.
Director Snowden, not present for the vote, Director DeMassimo,
Yes.
Director Owens,
Yes.
Chairman Leggett,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair, motion passed.
Good. All right, moving on to agenda item number 6. These items is 1 through 6.3 are presented for the seat inside the only display. Are including board packages. I will recognize Isaiah Cutter for the remarks before receiving the Department of Services presentation.
The executive report really focused on the new information received regarding the ferries, and you all have that comprehensive report. As I mentioned earlier, we will continue to follow that closely. And even upon legal review, we'll have, since it's contractual, recommend an executive session for update to the board. With that, I'm going to ask Ms. Royal to come forward with our financial report for the month of October 2020.
Good evening, everyone.
You know.
Our financial overview for the month of October is as follows. Our revenues, actual $2,636,000. Expenses for the month, $2,502,000. Our expenses are under revenues, $134,000. Year-to-date actual revenues, $7,687,000. Year-to-date budget revenues, $12,231,000. Variance, $4,543,000. Expenses year-to-date, $8,974,000. Our expenses year-to-date budget amount is $11,702,000. Year-to-date, we are under budget, $2,727,000. Our year-to-date variance net, $1,816,295. Next slide. Revenues by category for the month of October, special district taxes. Transit taxes came in a little higher this month, 46%. Paratransit, 23%. Grant, 10%. Contract revenues, 14%. Next slide. Expenses by category. We have not changed the salary and wages, being the highest expense category, along with insurance, services, and employee benefits. Next slide. Our comparative summary fiscal year 26 to 2025 last year. Our revenues for fiscal year 2026, $7,687,522. Fiscal year 2025 revenues for the year was $10,176,573. A change. Fiscal year 26 to 25, $2,489,000. Expenses, fiscal year 26, year to date, $8,974,000. Fiscal year 25, $8,931,000. The change of expenses, fiscal year 26 to 25, $43,216. Next slide. For the month of October, our account balances ended for October 2025 is operating balance $14,401,000, grant $1,990,000, capital and special projects $4,203,000. Next slide. Our earned account interest for the month of October. October earned interest $6,709,000. Capital and special projects earned $1,605,000. Capital grant $973. Georgia Fund investment $33,089. The total earned during the month of October, $42,376. Next slide. Our Georgia Fund One Reserve statement of account as of October 31st, 2025. Our ending balance was $9,422,163. It was stated earlier. The interest earned on this particular account was $33,089. Next slide. Cash receipts during the month of October. Transit taxes, special district transit taxes, $1,228,000. Chatham County Paratransit, $611,000. Our PR fees received from the city of Savannah for marina services, $88,057. City of Port Wentworth, $35,649. Our grant assistance received during the month of October, operating assistance. We received $263,914. Capital assistance on a couple of the projects that we have ongoing. CAT Central Interior renovations, $106,000. For paratransit vehicles, $384,000. Operations Intelligent Transportation System, $224,000. For a total of $979,000 received in grant assistance. Our operating cash balance as of October the 31st, $14,600,000. Next slide, please.
Can I?
Yes.
I have a quick question on that slide. Is that all? So under the city of Savannah POR fees, and it says Marine specifically, Ms. Cutter, or Gloria, where does the funding that the city commits to the DOT reflect in the cash receipts funding sources?
It's shown under agency revenue. It's not necessarily on this slide,
Okay.
but it's in your attachment.
I just did, I was
See.
looking for it up there too, and I just didn't
Would
see
you
it.
like to show that,
I
Mom?
think it would be good, because we always want to be sure,
Yeah.
that the city of Savannah's full support, for the important transit services of all kinds, are part of this funding source for assessment. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Our projected, well, like I stated, our ended balance for October, 14,600,000, and our projected balance as of June 2026, 19,421,000. Are there any questions?
Yes.
I think there is a calculation error on this.
I think you're looking at the comparative, sir,
I-
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, on the comparative for year to date, I believe it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was reviewing that earlier this afternoon, and I did notice that there is a formula issue
Yeah.
in the dollar
Spreadsheet.
change.
Yeah.
Yes, and we will get the updated copy to Ms. Cutter so that she can provide you that updated copy. Actually, I printed it out, had it ready, and let me know upstairs.
Well, I mean, performance is better than stated. Well, I mean, listen, there's nice, in looking at this, if you look at the change column, you get a different notion of what happened, but we grew in fixed transit. We grew in paratransit revenues. We grew in agency revenues. We're a little over year to date in total, agency revenues. The big miss on it is a grant that we received last year. We're not scheduled to receive this year, but, well done on revenue growth year to date as well as the month. But you gotta look carefully to see it. So I look forward to the updated report. Well done.
Are there any other questions?
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We move on to agenda. 7.1 and 7.3. As of November 16th, the contractual reports have not been received. These reports will be provided and filed in seat. Any discussions or any additional comments I see covered on this?
Just wanted to remind the board as it relates particularly to our governmental affairs update that we really need to make some decisions on our legislative agenda. A recommendation will be coming forward as it relates to the proposals that have been submitted, and we really need to define the legislative agenda because they need to get to work quickly.
So what is our schedule to begin with the delegation over at Savannah?
It's early December. I'll confirm the date and get it out to you. I want to say the 6th.
If you could send out a schedule for us on that,
Yes.
so that we can attend and be sitting in just to support staff's presentation.
Is there there's a state association of transit providers, right? And they're a state
Yes.
group. Have they done their? So I mean, I assume we'll have two pieces. We'll consider whether to support any state transit suggestions from that group, right? And if there's anything specific to us.
Normally they would send that out to you, Ms.
Normally they
Transit
would.
Association.
And also, and this is just my suggestion. If there is an opportunity to partner with city, county, other municipalities on the legislative agenda, because transit impacts the entire county. We need to encourage that, listen to their needs, incorporate it into our agenda, and they do the same on their side.
We've had a really good history here within the past years of both the chamber's legislative agenda as well as the city and counties
Yes.
reflecting being reflected in both directions as you're describing. We actually have got some really good history there, so maybe taking a look at the proposals. And I know the upcoming biscuits and bills, breakfast, there'll be discussion of those kinds of things. And then the Georgia Transit Association to see if they've got any major moves. I think all those things will help inform some of the input that you've already gotten. You could send us a draft of what you would recommend as a final agenda for us, and then give you some confirmation of that. And then in the past, I know the board has been very supportive in showing up for that meeting over at Savannah Tech in front of the delegation, just to show that there's a strong board that's really supportive of staff's efforts, and so I think we do that as well. Absolutely.
Any other discussion? Okay. Move on to agenda item A, the old or new business for discussion. Okay. Hearing none, what would you talk about?
Do we have our fee yet for?
The request for proposals for government affairs.
Yes, they're under review.
Okay.
So before we adjourn. Staff has requested a special meeting for Monday, the 24th. The notice provided, pursuing. To provide a little background regarding staff requests during the September board meeting. The board approved the release of an RFP for legislative services for federal, state, and local combined. Staff has informed chair that proposals are in and are undergoing evaluation this week, and that a contract is to be awarded soon. The staff extended the evaluation period to allow sufficient time for two external evaluators. Staff be prepared to bring recommendations aboard at the special meeting on schedule. In respect to Thanksgiving holiday, some of us may be traveling, so please let everybody know if Monday the 24th will work, or if you'd like to consider an alternative date for Monday, December. Any additional comments on that?
And please consider earlier in the day on Monday, like 11 o'clock.
Well, 7:30.
No. Don't even think it.
So, we expect in that meeting that we will take an action. So we will need more than a quorum in person.
I could do 11. We'll pull out your noodles and see if 11 works and settle some of this now.
This is the 24th.
Next Monday.
It's next one.
Yes.
We will be out and about installing holiday decor throughout the city, but I'm sure
You're personally.
it'll be fun.
Might be better if she's here.
Yeah, why don't you? Don't need any crooked blows.
11 o'clock works.
So there's been an express preference for 11 a.m. So we need seek the time we can try to focus on that time.
Yes.
That time a little bit out of my timetable, 11.
When could you do this?
I can go a little later because I got other things so I'm attending to.
Like 1 or 2 o'clock?
Yeah, that'd be better.
Could we do 1 o'clock?
One is better for me, actually. I mean, I would do 11, but
Do 1. What about those?
I might bring one with me, just.
So 1 o'clock is the last one.
Okay.
What's better for me?
Okay. I was willing to go with it. Yeah.
Beverly's looking like she thinks that's better too.
That's better than 4.
That's all. Listen, I tried.
Yeah,
I got to cut down on that.
okay.
Lastly, the next regular meeting is scheduled for January 27th. There will not be a meeting in December. Next, there will be any further business. This meeting.
No, so, it's historically the members of the board attend the state legislative delegation meeting.
Yes.
And if a quorum of us go, is it, we have to notice that? I guess we can figure that out later, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been handled in this instead of-
Yeah, so me too. I'll be there. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a quorum.
Okay.
Usually, I think the most we've ever had.
Okay.
maybe three
Well, yeah.
or maybe four, but I don't think we've had.
Well, some of us may be there in a different
Yeah, I
capacity
know.
also. so-
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay,
But once we convene at that table to discuss, we would be doing
right.
business.
That's right.
Yeah.
okay. Excellent.
Any other items?
Many thanks to the staff for, and the whole team, most especially the last couple.
I have a special thanks to Ms. Beverly for properly scripting me today. So thank you very much.
I said it's time to go, Mike. I'm not tired.